Hello and welcome back. It seems as if in every challenge season there is a giant alliance or a group in agreement to target certain players to send into eliminations. They could be focusing on these players for a multitude of reasons like friendships or lack thereof, whether they're veterans or rookies, their overall vibe, or all the above. Players will be sent into elimination, and if they were to come back into the house, their targets never seem to shrink. Instead, they get bigger and bigger as the game progresses, to where the alliance or the group will send these players in over and over and over again until they're eventually eliminated, or by some chance, they make a deep run and somehow make the final. For this video, I picked a handful of challenge outcasts that were sent into 2, sometimes 3, or more eliminations on the basis of they found themselves on the opposite side of the house. This video is inspired by the Challenge 41 vet and new threats pair of Theo and Adrienne, who at the time of recording this video just won their 3rd elimination of the season. The reason why the Upstairs Alliance keeps voting them into elimination is because at the beginning of the game, they were worried about a UK alliance. Has been chipped away slowly but surely, to where their numbers have dwindled down to only 6 players. If it wasn't for Gabe losing the claim game in episode 11, Theo and Adrienne could have been voted into 4 consecutive eliminations. So far, they have sent home CT and Tay, D and Derek, America and Leroy. And the house seems like there is no sign of slowing down, voting them into elimination again and again and again. But this isn't the first time that Theo found himself on the opposite side of a giant alliance, because in season 34, War of the Worlds 2, Theo was sent into 4 eliminations, having to take on players like Bananas, Kyle, Idris, and Jordan. He was able to win 3 of those 4, but his 4th elimination, where he had to go up against a challenge legend in Jordan, he came up short. One of Theo's teammates that had to feel the wrath of Kara's cult was Georgia. She went into 3 eliminations, having to win against Big T, Esther, and eventually losing to Tori Deal.
Trusted you. No, I trusted you. It's disgusting.
Speaking of Jordan and Tori, they found themselves in the crossfire of Kara's cult as well. Once Johnny Bananas and Laurel were eliminated, Jordan and Tori took their spots as the #1 enemies of Kara's cult. They were sent into 2 eliminations each, where Jordan had to face off against Theo and Josh, and Tori had to face off against Georgia and Jenny. Jordan and Tori were very close with Theo, Jenny, and Georgia. So it was difficult having to go up against friends within the house, but they had to do what they had to do to stay in the game, and they eventually made the final, where Jordan would go on to win. Another power couple that had to scratch and claw their way to a final was Frank and Jillian in season 15, the Gauntlet 3. Frank and Jillian were already strong competitors individually, but once they were on the season, they started growing closer and closer with each other, which sent red alarms to both the veterans and the rookie team. They would be tested over the course of the season a total of 6 times, with Frank and Jillian seeing 3 eliminations each. Frank had to go against Tyler, Zach, and MJ, while Jillian had to face against Angel, Brooke, and Janelle. They showed off how incredible they are in eliminations to the point where they were able to make the final and eventually win against a stacked veterans team. A veteran that wasn't on season 15 but was on season 18, a part of the champions team, was Wes Bergman. When coming onto this season, Wes was looked at as a huge enemy, not just to the challengers team, but his own team of the champions. The story goes that just before season 16, The Island, Wes and Johanna had broken up. They were newly exes, and the one thing that Wes asked Johanna not to do was to start up a romance with Kenny, which happened. Wes was not only upset with Johanna, but he was upset with some of the comments that Kenny made in the confessionals on season 16.
I was hurt.
I know.
So when coming onto the ruins, Wes not only had to be on a team with his ex, Johanna, but also had to play nice with Kenny, someone who insulted him. Kenny, who had a ton of friends, who was willing and ready to do his bidding, whether it was Wes being sent into elimination, or it was a whole house coup to send in Wes's current girlfriend and his best friend and #1 alliance member in the house against each other. Eventually, the drama and intensity in the house cooled down, but not soon enough, as Wes found himself in another elimination. This time, he felt overconfident against Gahuta, who handed Wes his first elimination loss in his challenge career. Kind of like what I said with Theo, this wasn't the first time Wes found himself on the opposite side of the house, because if we go back to his first ever challenge season, season 12 Fresh Meat, he and Casey tied a challenge record of winning 5 eliminations on the season. Wes and Casey found themselves in so many eliminations on the basis of there was an invasion of real world Austin. There were a total of 4 real-world Austin teams who were also brand new to the challenge realm. The veterans decided to use that against them by sending them into elimination against each other over and over and over again. Wes was the last real-world Austin contestant left standing. Despite the house being hyper-fixated on sending Wes and Casey in, they did something incredible, and that was make the final. Yes, they got 3rd place, but they definitely deserved their spot in the final. Now, starting the segment, I said that they tied a challenge record, and that's because in season 7, Sarah Grayson actually made challenge history by being the first competitor to win 5 eliminations in a single season. Coming onto the Gauntlet, her team assumed that she would be the weakest competitor given her performance on her Road Rules season. I mean, even Sarah Grayson's Road Rules castmates of Darrell and Rachel fed into these assumptions.
Already in my head thinking Sarah, for the simple fact that of what I've been through with her.
This led to Sarah being sent into 5 total eliminations, where she had to win against not just women, but also men. She took down David in episode 1, then Matt in episode 6, Trishelle in episode 9, Rachel B in episode 10, and Erlon in episode 13. Whether it was endurance, puzzles, or a mechanical bull, Sarah took care of business, earned her spot to the final, and got the win. Someone else who also caught heat alongside Sarah was Katie. And in season 8, Katie was the one that was getting hyper-fixated on, being nominated 4 times and seeing 2 eliminations. Veronica was the engine to this anti-Katie train. However, with all of her efforts in trying to get Katie out, it did not work, as Katie made the final and won alongside her Road Rules team. Speaking of this bitter rivalry of Katie and Veronica, they would eventually be paired up together in All-Stars Rivals, a season where we find our next pair of Adam and Steve and how they were sent into 5 eliminations. Adam and Steve came onto the season as being one of only 2 men-men pairs. They were also not well connected in the house, as both players made their challenge debuts in the early stages of the game when the challenge was in single-digit seasons. So with that context, Adam and Steve were sent into multiple eliminations against a variety of competitors in a variety of different elimination games, having to go up against Beth and John A in pole position, to them facing off against Kellyanne and Sylvia in Ballbuster. Ashley and Anissa couldn't keep their head above water in Downpour. Devin and Leroy fell to Adam and Steve in Over a Barrel in episode 5, and then in the final elimination of the season, Adam and Steve were able to win against Nani and Turbo in Star Bluff. I mean, Adam and Steve were winning competitions the entire season. They won 5 elimination games, they won 3 daily challenges, they made it to the final, and I mean, the competition was close, but in the end, Adam and Steve did win. And unfortunately for the final player that I picked for this video, didn't win the final, even though making the final after also seeing 5 eliminations, was Horacio in season 38 Ride or Dies, where he and Olivia started off the season winning back-to-back eliminations in episode 2 and episode 3, winning against challenge champion Turbo and his partner Tamara in Memory Lane, thanks in part to the house, and then winning double-decker against Johnny and Raven. Horacio and Olivia would be nominated in episode 4, but would save themselves. Then face off against Jay and Michelle in episode 8 Spun Out, which they won. And then when the game went to a 2-team format, Horacio was on his own, being sent into 2 eliminations, one against Kenny in Breaking Barriers, and then in episode 14 playing against Jordan in Balls In, where this really solidified Horacio as a top competitor, winning against a challenge legend. And it didn't stop there, because once Horacio and Olivia were paired back up, they were nominated 2 more times. Horacio, in the totality of the season, was nominated a total of 8 times, saw 5 eliminations, and won all 5 of them, making it to the final, where he and Olivia were doing well in that final until Olivia had to be medically DQ'd for getting a golf ball in the face. But those are all the examples of challenge outcasts that I chose to highlight in this video. Now trust me, I didn't pick every single person that was ever targeted multiple times by a group or the challenge house to be sent into multiple eliminations, because realistically I could be here for hours going through every single season. If there was a player on a season that was targeted multiple times that I didn't mention in this video, let me know down in the comment section below. When doing research for this video, I came up with a pretty extensive list and then edited down to the players that I thought fit this video theme the best. I mean, you could let me know about Jay from season 35 being sent into 3 consecutive men eliminations. You could mention Devon in season 33, where she was sent into multiple eliminations, one because of her partner and being underestimated later on in the season. I also thought about Hunter from season 30, or Tanya in any challenge season she ever participated in because nobody really liked her or stood up for her. No matter who it is, please let me know down in the comment section below if you have an example of a challenge outcast that I didn't mention in this video, as well as let me know what you thought about my list in general. Which pair or player that I mentioned is your favorite, as well as if I didn't mention your favorite, let me know who they are down in the comment section below because I would love to hear what you have to say. At this point, I'm going to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.